Thank you, Chairman. Obviously, it goes without saying that the mechanics of pensions are quite complex. Many different figures and formulae and terms and conditions abound, and different rules and regulations. The consequence of this is that legislation pertaining to pensions can be quite easily hijacked and manipulated in the public domain, and legislative changes can stir up worries and concerns, and that's exactly what happened with this bill. And from the outset, the media coverage that the state pension was mentioned was incorrect, and this led to much and incorrect commentary. And it's worth stating quite plainly and clearly that this bill does not impact on the state pension at all. There's no change to the state pension arising from this bill, and the state pension has been protected by this government for the last 3 budgets. The state pension is exceptionally important to many citizens, which is why it has been protected. The Social Welfare and Pensions Bill concerns defined benefit schemes only, and that is the bill which concerns occupational pensions and private pensions. Whilst the government has protected the state pension, the global economic difficulties of recent years have impacted on the businesses or employers' ability to support private pension schemes. Many deputies will know of examples within their own constituencies, and in my constituency of Galway West, I'm aware of companies, including multinational companies, who have had to wind up defined benefit pension schemes because of losses incurred in the financial markets. The results are negative for all concerned, but particularly devastating for the existing employees. Heretofore, the rules have always meant that existing pensions in payment are allocated the lion's share of the pensions pot in the event of a wind-up. One multinational in Galway exemplifies what has until now happened. The company experienced very turbulent times globally and was eventually bought by a competitor, which in turn was bought by a venture capitalist company. The original defined benefit pension scheme was wound up as it was no longer sustainable. Retired employees received a substantial but not full amount, which they could put into an improved retirement fund or purchase an annuity. However, existing employees lost practically all of the contributions that they had made to what they believed would be their pension. This was especially devastating to workers in their late 40s and 50s, and these workers were left with nothing and effectively had to start again. It's highly unlikely that they will be able to build up a pension even approaching the value of that which they have lost. I think most reasonable people would see how unfair that is, and it is the lack of fairness which is the motivation underpinning the introduction of this bill. It is neither fair nor right that a person who responsibly puts aside a portion of their income each week or month to build up a pension for their retirement can be left with nothing, and through no fault of their own. With the European Court of Justice judgment of the Waterford Crystal case, there is a clear obligation on member states of the European Union to make provisions in cases where both the employer and the pension scheme are insolvent. All of the beneficiaries of a pension scheme will receive half of their benefits, while retired employees will be protected entirely up to €12,000. This is separate from the €12,000 value of the state, €12,000 value of the state pension, which the majority of the recipients of defined pension benefits also receive. Crucially, where the defined benefit pension scheme is unable to meet the cost of these new requirements, the state will step in using pension levy funds. It is in effect a safety net which protects responsible citizens who have contributed to their retirement. Furthermore, when an employer remains in business but the pension is wound up because of underfunding, amendments are being enacted so that current and existing employees and recipients of modest pensions are protected and receive a greater share of the benefits. The changes are being enacted as part of a wider issue of pension provision. All of the statistics show that Ireland and the EU will experience huge growth in the number of citizens aged over 66 or over. Indeed, in 40 years or so, nearly 10% of the population will be over 80 years. These citizens are now commencing their working lives, and at 20 or even 30, it will be difficult for them to even comprehend retirement, let alone make provision for it. Funding the state pension will become even more challenging. In 2011, for example, funding the pension accounted for 57% of the social insurance fund, and the fund which provides for the various social welfare schemes. By 2066, however, it is estimated that the pension-related funding will consume 85% of the social insurance fund, and that leaves very little cover for other important supports such as labour activation measures and payments to less able people. The figures and statistics demonstrate how vital it is that we examine pension provision and put in place the necessary steps to ensure that older citizens are provided for. And this social welfare and pensions bill is a very welcome part of that process, and I'd like to commend the Minister and officials for the work on that. Thank you.